On this episode of Around Town, we'll go to the historic Playhouse Square for the groundbreaking of downtown Cleveland's largest residential project in 40 years, the Lumen. Then we'll head to Cleveland City Hall as Tania Menesse takes the oath of office to become the Director of Community Development.
$150/90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
You and your family deserve the very best in healthcare. That's why Care Alliance is right where you need it. Each of our 4 clinics in Cleveland provide high-quality medical, dental, and behavioral health services. We welcome patients with or without insurance, or we can help you get insurance. Care Alliance, because everyone deserves quality healthcare. Schedule an appointment or just stop by. CareAlliance.org, 216-781-6724.
Good afternoon, everybody. Officially, I'd like to welcome all of you to this extraordinary afternoon and extraordinary celebration today. Today marks the culmination of a physical plan that began 3 decades ago when we renovated the first of the theaters at Playhouse Square. It's a demonstration of the success of the proposition that we could use the theaters, the revitalization of all of these theaters at Playhouse Square, to create a new neighborhood, to revitalize the area that has become known as the new Playhouse Square. Now we know that we have all of our wonderful theaters, the largest theater concentration in the United States outside Lincoln Center, and the largest Broadway theater audience in the country. But in addition to the theaters themselves, we also have a revitalized office sector, we have retail, we have restaurants. What we have wanted to have from the beginning is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week community, a linchpin of downtown. Today marks the opportunity to make that happen with the groundbreaking for this new residential building that you will hear about this afternoon. It is, in fact, the proof that we have accomplished and are accomplishing the physical task that we set out to begin with, to create a great neighborhood in downtown Cleveland, a place that people will want to work, live, and play. So it's a pleasure to have all of you here today, and I'm now going to recognize the person who makes all of this possible and has made it possible for all of these decades, Playhouse Square's CEO and President, Art Falco.
Thank you, Jim, and good afternoon and welcome to this very special occasion. Who would have believed 45 years ago, when the theaters in Playhouse Square were saved from demolition to create parking lots, that we would create the largest performing arts center in the country, second only to New York's Lincoln Center, that we would have the largest subscription base for touring Broadway in the entire United States, that we would have over 1,000 curtains and almost 1.1 million guests coming to Playhouse Square annually, and that we would have an education program that would reach upwards of 200,000 families and children each year. And last, that we would be a major real estate owner in downtown Cleveland. And now today we turn what is a parking lot into a 34-story apartment tower with a parking garage for 528 cars serving office tenants, apartment dwellers, theater guests, with 20,000 feet of amenities and retail on the first floor. We have named this project the Lumen at Playhouse Square. Its name was chosen to reflect the energy surrounding Playhouse Square and the importance of light in the theater and in general in the Playhouse Square district. because light is a very important characteristic with the marquees, the GE chandelier, the retro sign, and the gateways. And the Lumen lights the way toward the bright future of Playhouse Square. So this project serves the part of Playhouse Square's not-for-profit mission, which is about driving economic vitality in the region. And we view this project as a working endowment, with income being generated from the apartments to support the overall mission of Playhouse Square. As an example of an economic development project, there will be 2,000 construction jobs on this project. So there have been many important players that have helped to make the project a reality. An A team of designers, architects, contractors, starting with Hines International as our development manager. Their expertise has been a critical benefit as we have moved through the design process. Their firm currently has 114 developments underway around the world, and we are the beneficiaries of their great expertise on this project. The architectural team includes SCB, Solomon Cordwell Bowens, which is a nationally renowned firm with offices in Chicago and San Francisco. They're regarded as one of the nation's leading designers of high-rise urban residential buildings, having completed the design and construction of more than 100 high-rise multifamily projects. SCB has won many awards for their designs around the country. And Vocon, a well-respected global architecture and interior design firm, which provides a local presence to the project. The construction contractor, Gilbane, has 46 office locations worldwide, including Cleveland, has great expertise in high-rise construction. And finally, Greystar, which is the largest property manager of apartments in the country with nearly 400,000 units under management. So as you can see, we have the A team to make this project a success. Another very important partner is the Richard J. Fazemeyer Foundation. Richard Fazemeyer was a visionary and a trustee of Playhouse Square for many years until his passing in December of 2002. Dick's vision was to develop an upscale condominium project on this site. It's taken 17 years, and although it is not a condominium project, it will be an important residential project in the Playhouse Square district. So Playhouse Square is able to undertake this project due to a $15 million grant from the RJF Foundation, which provides a substantial portion of the equity needed. And in fact, one of the trustees of the RJF Foundation, Gordon Arnett, is here with us. Please give him a round of applause. We couldn't have done it without you, Gordon. Financing a project of this size is also critical and complicated. We have a local bank consortium of lenders led by Key Bank and Huntington Bank. And since this is a very complex project, tax abatement and tax increment financing, along with a small development loan, were critical, and I'm pleased to report that the City of Cleveland and Mayor Jackson have been important partners. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mayor Frank Jackson.
Good afternoon. Afternoon. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, I want to congratulate Playhouse Square, Mr. Falco, his board, his staff for what we're announcing, what they are announcing today. You know, about less than a week ago, I was on 105 in Superior, and we announced our first phase of a $65 million development in one of the most distressed areas of the city of Cleveland. Earlier today, I was at 83rd and 93rd in Quincy as we announced with ODOT the beginning of phase 3 of the Opportunity Corridor that will connect economic development and jobs in, again, one of the most distressed areas of the city of Cleveland. And now we're here to talk about an investment in downtown Cleveland, a downtown neighborhood of Cleveland, where we will have a residential investment that will cause downtown Cleveland, that neighborhood, to be a place where people will live, work, play, and do business. And all of this is just part of an overall vision for Cleveland, but none of this work without the dedication and the commitment and the work of individuals and organizations, not government itself, but those individuals and organizations that are committed to their mission and their purpose. And that is why I not only want to congratulate Playout Square, but I want to thank them. I want to thank them for their leadership, thank them for their commitment, and thank them for being real citizens of this city, and not only of Cleveland, but of the greater Cleveland, as they have taken what was distressed and made it into something not only as viable, but is worldwide in its competition and what it does. So again, congratulations, and thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We're also very fortunate to have a very dedicated councilman in the downtown district who's been a great supporter of this project. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Good afternoon. I can't think of a more appropriate place to hold the celebration of the rising of a 34-story tower and a celebration of the continued progress and prosperity of the city of Cleveland and one of Cleveland's most beautiful theaters here, truly remarking on the exceptionalism and drive of Clevelanders and everyone who is so passionate about this city. We are going to welcome hundreds of new residents into our downtown community as we march towards the goal of 20,000 residents in downtown Cleveland. We know, though, that it's not only about the amount of folks here, it's about our amenities and the quality of life. That is why I'm so excited to work with Mayor Jackson, with County Executive Budish, and all of our local development partners to create a wonderful, livable community in downtown with restaurants and parks and playgrounds and everything you can imagine. So we are so excited today to welcome this great addition to downtown Cleveland, really show that continued progress that we're seeing here in our city's core, and a great example from historic to new of why our city is one of the most exceptional world-class places to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman McCormick. Cuyahoga County has also been another great partner of Playhouse Square for the last 40 years. In fact, it was the county's purchase of the Lowe's building in the early 70s that ultimately saved the Ohio and then State Theaters from demolition. It's now my pleasure to introduce County Executive Armin Budish.
It's a great pleasure for me to be here to join all of you in celebrating what's going to be a tremendous, tremendous asset for downtown Cleveland and all of the county. Looking at this building, I mean, it's hard to believe we could have lost these buildings. It's just hard to believe. You can't build these anymore. And this project, the residential project across the street, will help make sure that the theaters will remain strong for a long, long time, because as Art Falco said, this will help build basically the financial security for this whole development. We as a county have been very invested in both economic development and community development, and there's no project that does more for both of those things than this project right here. It will help strengthen the theaters, and it will help make sure that we continue to have a growing and viable downtown Cleveland. So thank you to Art and to the board for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive Budish. And now, before we walk across the street for the ceremonial groundbreaking, I'm happy to report that we have 20 apartments reserved already. So those of you that are interested, we'll be taking reservations for the next 2 years, and we expect first units to be occupied in the spring of 2020. So on behalf of the board of Playhouse Square, thank you all for coming. We're now going to move across the street for the groundbreaking ceremony.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Today I'll be swearing in Ms. Tania Menesse as Director of Community Development. Ms. Menesse was born in India and immigrated to the United States in 1977. She has most recently served as the Director of Economic Development for the city of Shaker Heights since 2010. There she was responsible for generating commercial revenue and developing the city's economic development plan to incentivize private investments as well as supporting reinvestments in residential properties through both technical and financial assets. Don't know exactly what that means. She began her career in 1996 with GTE Service Corporation, also known as Verizon Corporation, in Irving, Texas. From there, she worked with Bearing Point Incorporated as a consultant, and then with Quest Corporation, which brought her to Northeastern Ohio. Beginning in 2007, she worked as a business development and marketing consultant for Towards Employment. She later worked as a graduate assistant for Cleveland State University and the Cleveland Foundation in 2009. She has served on the Shaker Heights Development Corporation Executive Committee, the St. Luke's Foundation Executive Committee, Land Studio Board of Directors, Global Cleveland Board of Directors, and was vice chair of the First Suburbs Development Corporation. Ms. Menesse holds a bachelor's degree in commerce from the University of Virginia, master's degree in urban studies from Cleveland State University, and certification as an economic development financial professional from the National Development Council. You ready, ma'am? Okay. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Tania Menesse,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I'll support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
the Constitution of the State of
The
Ohio,
codified ordinances
the codified
and
ordinances
charter
and charter
of the City of Cleveland.
of the City of Cleveland,
That I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties of
discharge the duties of
Director of Community Development,
Director of Community
of the
Development
State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance of office.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to take a minute to thank my husband, Rick, my daughter, Hazel, and my parents who are here for me today and who are always here for me every day. I want to thank Mayor Jackson and Chief Ribka for their trust and the confidence that they've placed in me to carry out this very important work. The vision that I'll carry forth with me each day is something that Mayor Jackson has said many times, that Cleveland cannot be a great city until all of its neighborhoods are neighborhoods of choice, neighborhoods that work for the residents of Cleveland, neighborhoods that build wealth for the residents of Cleveland. I do see some familiar faces here today. For my peers who have come to see the swearing in, and for my new staff, I'm really excited and ready to get to work. And with that, I think that's enough. Thank you.